How much does it cost to be competitive in 40k? With the world opening up and 40k tournaments starting all over the place, there's a real buzz around wanting to get into a tournament and then playing against someone else and testing your skill. There are obviously a few factions which are proving to be really popular and really successful in tournaments so far, and I was wondering, what does it actually cost to be competitive in 40k? What I've done is I've taken the top 3 factions from tournaments being played recently, a lot of those in the US, and then looked at the models that they've got and how much it costs to build them. At this point, I'm just using the GW website to look at UK prices and US. I've not covered absolutely every faction in this analysis that I've done, so I've tried to pick just the top ones because we're looking for what's most competitive. And I've also thrown in a few others which have done relatively well here and there, but you probably wouldn't consider them top tier, such as Necrons and Tyranids. So firstly, one of the really interesting bits I got out of this analysis was the cost difference between UK and US. Now, the current exchange rate at the time of filming is $1.41 per pound. However, as we see in this table here, the difference between the cost price and the exchange rate is vastly different across factions. And in fact, Drukhari has a lower price increase than the cost of the exchange rate. So it's cheaper to buy a Drukhari army in the US than it is in the UK. Scaling all the way up to Admech, Admech is the most expensive army to buy in the US, with a 24% increase over the top of the exchange rate. So essentially, if you want to play Admech, which some people consider one of the strongest factions in the game, you're paying 25% more if you're in the US than the UK. So now let's take a look at the overall cost of building these armies. You can see from this chart here that Necrons are the cheapest army to build, and Admech are the most expensive. Now, that's the most expensive in the UK, and because of the price hike they put for the US customers, definitely the most expensive in the US. Picking out the Tyranids in third place, the reason for that is because the amount of Forge World models which are being used to make them competitive, and they're vastly more expensive than GW models. In a meta where Space Marines aren't ruling the roost anymore, it's interesting that you've not had as many wins from different Space Marine chapters. I've highlighted 2 there with the Blood Angels and the White Scars. They've both done well. The White Scars has had a win. Blood Angels has only had a 3rd place in April, but people do consider them one of the strongest Space Marine armies. So the White Scars army that was particularly expensive there because of the Relic Contemptors from Forge World. But it's really interesting to see that if you want a competitive army, and you don't want to spend a lot of money, it seems like Space Marines is the way to go, which is kind of what we've always seen. The Death Guard surprised me with their relatively low cost to make a competitive list, and they're still considered definitely one of the top tier armies. And the difference between Drukhari and Adeptus Sororitas, for instance, is not a massive difference between their cost. You would definitely say that Drukhari are stronger than Adeptus Sororitas at the moment. So overall, you'd say that it's not particularly cheap to build an army. However, if you're thinking to go to a tournament, and that you'd only spend £500 to build an entire army, that's not so bad. Coupled with the fact you can get 15 to 20% discount from resellers, you can essentially build any army for around £500. And it's a shame that Admech is so expensive, because with their new codex coming out and some of the preview rules which make them look like they're going to be massively strong, it feels a bit pay to win with them because they're going to be so strong, but it costs a lot of money. And coming in at 60% more than the cost of a Space Marines army, that is quite significant. Hope you liked that bit of analysis. Hope you thought it was useful and interesting. If you did, drop us a like. And if you've watched all the way to the end, thanks very much. Why not consider subscribing? Bye.